Aloha and welcome to Maui Nonprofit Notes. Now in our 10th year of broadcasting each week, we continue talking story with Maui's nonprofit executive directors and staff to find out how they're working to support those with needs within our community. Maui Nonprofit Notes is generously sponsored by Pacific Source. If you're building or remodeling a home, please stop by Pacific Source's Cabinet and Appliance Showroom located in the Waikapu Bayshard. I'm Susie Tiemann, Executive Director of Lokahi Pacific, and your host for Maui Nonprofit Notes. During this hour, we're going to share some of the experiences of our nonprofit agencies and just how they're changing lives, changing communities, and creating miracles of hope for those with needs. Today, we're going to start off the show talking with Paul Tonneson, who's the Executive Director of Friends of the Children's Justice Center. Hi, Paul.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thanks.
It never ends, does it?
Nope.
It just keeps going.
Keeps going.
You know, sometimes when I talk to folks like you who have just, you're pretty much one, issue organization.
Correct. Child abuse and neglect.
There we go. I mean, that's a huge one.
Yeah.
But that's your focus.
Correct.
Do you run into days where something happens that is just so much worse than you've seen before?
You know, it's funny. I run into that a lot, and people always ask you, how do you do this? It is a sad job, but the outcomes, someone has to be there to start healing the children. You know, or if there's no healing process or they're not given proper tools, broken children become broken adults. And, you know, we just create this multi-generation of dysfunction. So, yeah, we do a lot of preventive work, a lot of out-of-the-box things to reach these kids to ensure that they know there's a community out there that cares about them.
It sounds like the only way you can continue doing this on a daily basis is to think forward.
Right.
The outcome of
The
what
outcome
you're going to be
of it,
doing.
right. Not the incident, the outcomes.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that you're looking at a lot of success stories at this point. You've been doing this for a while.
Huge success stories. You know, we got some of these kids that came through that come back and volunteer, that are productive members of the community. We got one young man that's signing up to be in the police department. You know, and a lot of these traumatized kids, they're never given tools how to heal. And so then they act out in unhealthy behaviors, and then they get punitive action. So actually we work very closely with the courts, family court, drug court, or they turn to drugs and alcohol to numb the pain. And we've got a huge success rate. Maui Police Department has the POI Project, the Carlo Project. There's so many things in this community to help these kids heal and to give them proper tools to begin starting a life, you know, for them.
Right. If we were to go back to the beginning of how does a child get referred to you, or how do they become one of your clients?
Child, anytime there's an open or active case of abuse or neglect or suspicion of it. So we work with Department of Education because they have these children in their care, and they, perfect instance, one girl came to school for 3 months without any glasses.
Glasses.
Right.
Okay.
So they reached out, no response from the family. The teacher called and said, if we bring her to Lens Crafters, can you reimburse us personally? This girl needs glasses to be able to get an education, you know. And a lot of the times it's mental health issues, it's economic stress, it's a variation of things that these children aren't. It's not always the parents' fault, you know, naturally sometimes it is. But it's just a lot of it's economic hardship. Or, I use this phrase, people say it's harsh, broken children become broken adults. It's this multi-generation of dysfunction, which is normal to them because they haven't been exposed to any other type of healthy environments. So.
Okay, so when we use the term abuse and neglect, I mean, that covers a whole lot of issues and situations.
Correct.
Some are brought on by actions and some by non-action.
Correct. You know, a parent working 3 jobs can't afford rent. You know, the kids have no back-to-school clothes. Is it neglect purposely? No. But is a child without clothing or clean underwear or toothbrush or anything, you know, those are basic needs that a lot of people take for granted that a lot of people can't afford to give to their children. It's a roof over the house, and that's about it. You know, I'm going to share something that a resource caregiver just took a child. So it sort of walk you through what happens when a child, and they took the child for sexual abuse into care, but the caseworker had him in the child welfare office, and she had asked the child, and they gave me permission to share it. There's no names or anything. What do you want? Because these kids love their parents, so when you remove them, that love doesn't go away.
Right.
No matter what they do. But this young man, things I want in my family. I want food and water. They didn't have any food and water in the house. Don't hit on me anymore. A house with running water and lights. They had no electricity. I want love. Mom and Dad don't fight anymore. I want no more drugs. The father had killed one of the pets, so he says, don't kill my pets. Help me with school. Nice, clean clothes. No more lice or bugs in my bed. Clean house, a bed with covers, which a lot of them don't have sheets and blankets or whatever. And don't sell my toys. Treat me fair. Don't get drunk anymore. TV. Let me keep my games. Again, they're selling the stuff. And school stuff. Shoes, my own comb, soap, nice house, and a toothbrush.
Wow. And this is coming out of a family situation.
Correct.
So, I mean, are we do we know brothers and sisters or anything like that?
That I don't know.
Okay.
I would assume there's probably other siblings, but that child didn't ask for anything that a normal child has every day.
Right.
He just wants to be safe,
Right.
right? And to have clothes. And if he gets clothes, I was a foster parent, and I used to bring the children over to visit their mother for the weekend years ago, long time ago, back in the 90s, and I would give her clothing for the weekend, and they'd be brand new Nike, whatever. She would take all that clothing and sell it, and then tell me that, oh, I did laundry, because she lived in public housing, and someone went in and took it out of the dryer, you know, and she'd use the same excuse all the time. So, yeah, and it's desperation, a lot of them, if they're into drugs or whatever it is. They'll do anything to fulfill the need of getting what they need to get.
Right.
So
in a case like this, they end up with someone else.
they'll go into foster care, right?
Foster care. Okay.
Or they could go to biological family
Okay.
members, yeah.
Relatives who have
That's where
stable homes.
they'll get processed and see if there's someone out there that can provide a stable environment for them. Right.
And I guess the thing is that bothers me more about this situation is that this is so common these days.
Yeah.
You know, it used to be, oh, that family over there.
Right.
But now it's everywhere.
It's everywhere, and especially, you know, when you live somewhere in, say, Hawaii, you know, there's the rich and the poor. You know what I mean? There's really no middle class here, and pretty much nationwide. But I'm just saying, I think it affects us a lot more. And a lot of these parents have to go work 2 or 3 jobs just to keep a home, you know, the bare essentials.
Right.
And that puts a lot of stress on them. And stress can bring on anger, which can bring on violence. I mean, there's a lot of key factors that play in. You know, a lot of times people get upset with me if I'm defending the parents. But you can only have the tools to use that were given to you. So if you weren't given the proper tools to you, you're doing what was done to you. You know, I had a big funder once, and she was upset about the parents. So I brought her to a family court, drug court graduation. And it happened to be 2 young girls in their 20s with children. And they had completed drug court, they're sober, they're doing everything right. And when they talked about their childhood, this woman just sat there and cried. And I'm like, they're victims who have unfortunately have aged out of the system and are re-victimizing other people, not intentionally, but just because they've never got out of their
Right.
environment.
That's that cycle we're talking
Right,
about.
right. So breaking that cycle,
Right.
right.
It's and of course, whenever that happens, it multiplies.
Right. Multi-generational sometimes, you
Right.
know what I mean? I
And-
mean, it's happened in my own, I shouldn't say it's happened. It is in my own family because of the dysfunction I grew up in. Has been passed on to my nephews and nieces and their children. And, You know, I just had a nephew and his wife have a drug baby, you know.
Oh,
So it's sad, but they don't know anything else, or they don't think they have access to a community that cares, which there is,
right.
but they don't get exposed to that.
Now, do they also kind of their associates or their people they associate with, are they of like kind, so that there's no way like a friend would intervene with them or something?
Well, it's funny you say that. I think I'll use myself as an example. It was constant chaos, and because of that, you're judged by others in the community as the bad children, right?
Right.
The kids you don't want your child going with, right?
Yeah.
So I think that puts a message to these children that this is what you got and this is what you're worth.
Yeah.
You know,
Wow.
that's just the way I feel about
Yeah,
it, and
sure.
I believe it's pretty accurate that no parent wants a kid going over to their friend they met at schools who houses a drug house.
Right.
I mean,
right.
they're protecting their child, but at the same time, the child that wants to have that person as a friend is the one that's getting punished because of the activities in the home.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh boy, every time I talk to you, you know, it's such a deep subject.
It is a deep subject.
It's just, you know, and we can't seem to find that magic potion or that magic pill that's going to fix this.
Right. Well, we are working on it, and I think it's a lot more. People don't realize it's happening. You know, I've been out here 22 years, you know, and when people like back in Boston where I'm from will say, you know, they know what I do. You have child abuse out there, right?
Right.
Because it's
Not in Hawaii,
paradise.
right.
So everything that's portrayed to them is this beautiful, wonderful place. Come, you know, get your tickets and do your luau's. But there's a whole community that's hurting,
Right.
you know, that needs help. That naturally the tourism is not going to portray that aspect of it anywhere, not
Right.
just Hawaii. You know, I mean,
Right.
it's not good for tourism, right?
Oh gosh. So you've got, how long have you been over at Children's Justice Center now?
20 years I've been with them.
them, on the board.
12 years as a board member. 7 years now as the executive director.
Wow. It doesn't
So
seem
13
possible.
years as a board member.
Seems like you just got named that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I just, I don't know. Like you say, people ask you how you can do this every day, and I can see that it's, you got to look to the end result kind of thing. And in a small way, I can appreciate that, you know, because as we were building our latest housing project,
right.
all the issues that come up, you know, permits, whatever, along the way, you can just keep thinking of the day you hand the keys to that family.
Right, right.
You know,
new
that's
start.
the goal
Right.
right there.
Yeah.
And so same with the children that you're working with. And like you say,
Right.
now you're looking at some that have grown up
Yep.
and have turned out, as we say, what? Normal's not the right word, but as contributing society members.
Yeah. And you know what? I hate to say it, and I said this to a friend of mine who's actually a psychiatrist, and I said, you know what the problem is? If everyone in this world could just do one thing, we'd be okay. They could look in the mirror and say, you know what? I'm a little screwed up. We all have something, right?
Right?
In our head, right? We all have this one negative feeling, whatever it may be. Instead of just trying to pretend it goes away, because then people use drugs and alcohol to subdue whatever their feelings are and whatever, right? But, you know, these kids go on, and I'll tell you, we've got great success stories of these children going on and becoming great members of this community. You know, they just repainted my whole office, you know, a couple of the kids that we helped when they were younger,
Yeah.
you know, and they always say it when you run into them later in life. Is there anything I can do for you? I'm meeting with a woman tonight. And that's what she said to me at drug court. I want to help you. You help my children,
Yeah.
right? You helped me when I was a child. So it goes back to that cycle, right?
Right.
Is there anything I can do for you?
That's and that's the gratitude
Right.
that shows up probably when you least expect it.
Correct.
Because you're doing it because you see the need,
Right.
not because of what's going to happen is if it works,
Right. Right.
which is kind of an interesting formula.
Yeah.
Was that the signal for a break? Gosh, already?
Gary's heard enough of me.
He speeded up the clock. I know he did. It can't possibly
Every time
be.
when I come on and I go outside and look at my watch and I'm like, oh, wait a minute.
Well, let's take our break because I know that Paul's got a lot more to tell us.
Aloha from Pacific Source, and thank you for your support over the years. Pacific Source has offered more of what builders and homeowners value most in building materials and cabinet design. We've done this by offering superior customer service and products, as well as by designing kitchens and baths that are intelligent and elegant while staying true to your vision and budget. Visit our showroom in Waikapu in Central Maui, where we display a variety of cabinets as well as top-name appliances like Sub-Zero, Wolf, Viking, KitchenAid, and more. We display countertops, tile and wood flooring, and several brands of windows and doors, including Fleetwood multi-slides and La Cantina folding doors. Come in and talk to our designers about making your dreams become a reality. From concept to completion, we really believe our attention to detail and superior service are what sets us apart. Let us show you what we mean. We are a Pacific Source at 515 East Oahe Way in the Consolidated Base Yard in Waikapu, just off Waiko Road. Call us at 986-0380. That's 986-0380, or look us up online at packsource.com.
And we are back. This is Maui Nonprofit Notes, the weekly radio show where we talk story with our executive directors of our nonprofit agencies and find out what's going on in their world. And today we've started the show talking with Paul Tonneson, who's the executive director of Friends of the Children's Justice Center. And you know, usually you are last on the show, and I walk out of here just.
I always tell
this,
everyone. Yeah, I always tell everyone you can go ahead, but Tamara said it today, and I was like, okay. She beat me to it.
So we're knee deep in it, and we're talking about, you know, this is something that, I mean, families try to hide this, right?
Well, it's a lot of shame surrounding it, correct?
Yeah.
Or if there's violence involved or domestic violence, naturally they don't want to get arrested or whatever. So yeah, there's a lot of shame built around it and hopelessness. Okay, so I'll go back to me as a child. I never thought anyone cared because it just kept happening.
Right.
Right? And people knew. Like when the beating started, the neighbors closed the windows, right? So you were like, okay, no one's there to help you, right?
Right.
So these children feel a lot of that hopelessness.
And one of the first places you think you would find help would be at school.
Right.
I mean, you go to school with the same clothes for days, or with some injuries or bruises that you shouldn't have.
DOE is great. But again, unless a child tells you something, there's not a lot you can do.
You can't start
unless
it,
there's a
yeah.
disclosure, right?
Yeah.
Which is great when you get them, but think of all the children that are silent.
Right.
So we did a survey 3 years ago in the court system here on Maui of juveniles going in front of judges. 87% of those children were victims of abuse and trauma. Now they didn't know how to process this. So they've gone into unhealthy things with drugs, alcohol, whatever they were in front of the judge for, right?
Uh-huh.
And it's no longer this way, but then, you know, the American way, let's take punitive action and punish them for being broken, right?
Right.
And then when they get adults, we call them hardened criminals. Now they're hardened, right? Who hardened them? It takes an outside force to harden anything, right? You put
Right.
glue on the table, it's the air that's going to harden it, right? So the courts have gone through, all the judges and everyone have gone through what they call trauma-informed care and training in understanding that your chances of this child broken are at least 87%. And those are the ones we can document. It's higher.
Right.
Right. So we got a great court here. We just did our supplement in April, and I wrote an article about a kinder, gentler court here in Maui of how, you know, they have their lenses focused on these children of, okay, I could have a kid right here that's a victim of something, so let's take a different approach. And they're great. It's more of a holistic and a healing approach.
Great.
So
That's terrific.
Yep.
Would a child say in a courtroom setting what's going on in their life, or do they hide it as well?
They have
because
to feel safe.
Okay.
You know, they have to feel that they're trusted and that you're not going to bring them back to the environment, and then something, holy hell's going to break loose, pardon my French, because they talked about it, right? So and that's a lot of times when they remove, that's when you'll get the disclosures, when they feel comfortable that they can I've had children, because we run the Journey to New Beginnings. We designed a program. And it's breaking the cycle, but we couldn't get the parents to sign off, so we called it Journey to New Beginnings Teen Empowerment, right? And once these kids bonded with the mentors who volunteered for this program, there was all kinds of disclosures coming out. Because we told them there's a community that cares and we're here to help, and no one judged them through the 2-day program. They felt safe, and they felt that there was a caring community for them. So it's getting them to understand that there is another environment besides the one they're in.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I would think that what you say is so true, because if the word got back to the parents, it would just get worse at home.
Oh, yeah. Right. We've had parents that literally have broken their cell phones with hammers, took them out of school, and homeschooled them. In other words, they're not going to be educated anymore, to cut them off from the world. So you got to be very careful also, in these situations.
But then as they grow up, what do they just kick them out of the house? Do they not want them around, or what?
It depends.
Those who don't get help, what happens to them?
They
We
go
don't
into
know.
the system.
Oh, right. They do whatever they have to
Correct.
survive.
Every time there's a tragic thing with an adult that happens on this island, I go into my records and I look up that adult's name, and guess what I find out? Now that they're a hardened criminal, they were an abused child, right? All the time. I had to do it today. And there's the name, right? So, again, when they don't think anyone cares, they get angry.
Sure.
They're really upset that no one's actually addressing the real issue, the underlying cause for the behavior, right?
Right.
So
It's like there's a glass partition between them and the rest of the world.
yeah, well, we're breaking it down. We're lowering it, and
Yeah.
DOE, everyone that's involved that has access to children, every year it's getting more and more preventive measures are being put into the community, which is great.
That's great.
And hence why we have a higher removal rate of children, but at least they're getting removed and getting the care. And then we want to fix the family too.
Right.
We
Oh,
want to
yeah.
repair the parents and send these children back. Like the young lady I'm meeting tonight, her children were taken away, but guess what? She got the help and the tools and everything else she needed. She has her children back. She's a loving mother,
Yeah.
because now she knows the proper way to care for a child and to ask for help, and that it's out there.
I'm trying to put myself in your shoes, and I'm thinking one step at a time. You
Yep.
see progress,
Right.
and you're always optimistic about what you're
Right.
doing. It's going to work. It's going to help,
Correct.
and it does not only help the child, but also, as you say, the families.
Right.
And by the families, the extended family,
Right. Yep.
which may be helping people or kids that you've not even
Right.
known about.
Because there's a lot of times they can go with the grandparent, but the grandparent won't interact with their child, the parent, because of the dysfunction in it, or it could be whatever, the drug abuse, whatever it is. They've had to cut ties to protect themselves.
Right.
But once the child's removed and processed, then we got a lot of grandparents raising children
Wow.
on the islands. So,
We could talk for days about
Yes,
this, couldn't
yes.
we? Oh, gosh.
but on a good note, I came here to talk about my fundraiser.
Yeah, let's do that.
So every year we have a fundraiser. This year is Let Your Love Flow. It's always up at the King Kamehameha Golf Course. The reason we promote it early is it's a sold-out event every year. It's October 4th this year at 5:30. And if you want information about it, it's on our Facebook page, which is Friends of the Children's Justice Center of Maui. It's on our website, www.mauicjc.org. And you can buy tickets online, and even if you just want to donate, there's a Donate Now button there. It's an amazing event. Paula Fuga, who is a former foster child, award-winning musician, songwriter, is going to do our entertainment this year, and she's amazing.
Beautiful.
She's going to actually take some foster kids the day before and do a class with them, and then
Oh, yeah?
bring them on stage.
Oh, cool.
And they're going to get to perform with her. So that's a big
Wow.
deal. Again, that's showing these children that someone values them. And that's the biggest thing with these kids, to show them that they are valued and they have value.
Right.
So she's coming in a day early to do all this for us. So amazing, amazing woman to help us. Fun event, very pauhana. We don't talk all night. We're not going to bore you on the stage. We're going to let you enjoy a great event of entertainment, live auction, silent auction. And if you haven't gone, it's a blast.
Yeah.
If you want to go, get your tickets early, because we're very fortunate that people support us. We have no federal, state, or county funds. 100% of our funds are from private donors, private foundations. Last year, we had an extra $117,000 come in that we didn't ask for.
Oh, my goodness.
And guess what?
It's gone.
It's gone. We don't put any of those, and whenever we have a windfall, it goes back to the children and it makes a difference in their lives. And that's the agreement we have with the board.
Right.
And, so we could enrich and enhance so many more children last year because of the generosity of our community.
Right. That's fabulous. And I know that you do sell out early. It's not the typical Maui event where people the last day are calling, I want a ticket, I need a ticket.
It is. So what I do is I reach out to those people that get upset that have been going for 5 or 6 years in a row, and then they do try to do it last minute, and I don't have room. So now I have a whole list, and we haven't even put tickets on sale yet. We have, I think, 58 left out of 200.
Oh, my gosh.
But because I contact them all every year prior and say, tickets are going on sale. Are you going to be there? Yes, block 2 seats, hold 2 seats, or hold a table, or I'm going to do a sponsor table, whatever it may be. So it's a great event. It's fun.
That's cool. That's very cool. And it's a 30th anniversary.
30 years, yes.
Wow.
So
what an organization.
It is a great organization, and we have an amazing board of directors. You just said to me you got almost as many honoraries as you have as board members. We don't have term limits, and every director of the agency has come off the board. It's a family. Maureen Mars from Ace Hardware, who's a board member, described it the best way when someone asked her at a strategic planning retreat, how would you describe being a board member of the Friends? She said, it's a family. I'm part of the family. So our goal is to look out for these children, and we have a room full of compassionate and empathetic people that are there all the time. I'm the only employee. They come in and do data entry, they stuff envelopes, they do everything, and nothing's beneath them to make sure that we are as successful as we can be.
And it's working.
And it's working.
Very good. And for 30 years, it's working, and it's working better every year.
Yes.
Wonderful. Paul, thank you for being here and sharing information on what the Friends are doing. And phone number in case somebody wants to reach you?
986-8634. And you can email me. It's easy. It's Paul at Maui. C is in children. J is in justice. C is in center.org. So Paul at MauiCJC.org. And the website is www.mauicjc.org.
Great. And that fundraiser again is on October 4th. But call and get those tickets early.
Go on. You can buy them right on our website if you want. Yep.
Great.
Okay.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you.
And we'll shift gears here. We're going to talk with Tamara Sherrill.
Hi, Susie. Thanks for having me.
Hi. How you doing? It's he was going to give you something to lead into your part.
Yes, thank you,
And
Paul. Because it's kind of hard to follow that with talk about plants and botanical gardens.
Takes a village. You're part of the village.
There you
That's
go.
right.
There you go.
We're a green leafy part of the village.
Put your mic down just a little bit more, so it's there. You go. I think you'll come across a bit better. It's been a while since you've been on.
Yes, thank you for having me.
It's and it's always fun because even though I've not been there for a long time, every time I drive down the main road, I look over there and I say, I got to get over there. I got to check it out because I know you've done so many wonderful things.
Thank you. Well, it's open Monday through Saturday. Just stroll on in.
Just do it.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
Free admission on Saturdays, and we've got a lot of great events on Saturdays, workshops, cultural workshops, and every Wednesday, if you happen to get a Wednesday off, you can come join our Weed and Pot Club, so you can spend an hour in the garden weeding, and you can spend an hour in the garden in
My
the nursery
favorite club.
potting up plants. It's a great way to help us out, and we have
Cool.
some wonderful volunteers. There's always, little potluck at the end.
Yeah.
So that's just open. People can walk in, and as long as you have covered shoes, you're welcome.
So with all this heat we've had the last couple of months, does that make a difference with the number of people that show up to do things at the gardens?
Well, it does. It definitely weeds out the ones who need to be in the air conditioning. But we have jobs in air conditioning too. We actually do. Yeah, we've been doing some seed banking since 2015. So we had a fabulous group of interns this last summer, and they worked a short duration, but they would spend the mornings working out in the garden and sweating, and then they'd come into the air conditioning, and we always need help processing rare seeds so that we can store them in cold and dry storage, and then that keeps them alive for much longer than they would be otherwise. And that buys time for land managers who are trying to, control threats. And, 'cause
Right.
as you know, Maui has a lot of endemic species that are only found here. So,
It's just, I just marvel at this whole package. I mean, it's not just a garden.
well, it is a
Nobody
beautiful
can-
park and garden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's so much that goes on behind the scenes
Try to.
to keep the endangered species, and just and what people learn. I mean, you must have some folks who have started out maybe as kids helping out with things, who have gotten into the business, so to speak. Of
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Yeah, some of our former interns are now the nursery managers at Hawaii Volcanoes National Park. And
Oh, wow.
In fact, they met at Maui Nui Botanical Gardens, and there's two different managers for two different projects that got married just recently. So all kinds of great stories.
it's,
But-
it's wonderful to see success in so many different ways.
That's right. And, as Paul was saying, we are a community site, and it's definitely a place for all kinds of groups to come. We have volunteer groups and community groups that come. The Easter Seals participants, they come and volunteer every Wednesday
Oh,
with our
wonderful.
community group, and we've been working on, finding things that they can do that they love to do. And, we have new docents that we just trained this year. So we have 5 new volunteer docents that can give a tour of all the different ethnobotanical uses of some of the plants at the garden. So when we have school groups come, or any kind of a community group can come and take those tours and learn about how the Hawaiians used to use and still use a lot of the native plants of Maui County.
Well, that would be interesting.
Yeah, it's really fun because it's not just standing and talking. We actually, pull off plant parts and we make things. We have leaves that you can make soap right there and show how to make soap out of it. Or we've got things that are used for weaving and for making cordage, and we can show you exactly how to do that. It's a lot of fun.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
Wow.
So ethnobotany is definitely, and the different uses of the plants are definitely a big part of all the interpretive materials. We have our signage. We have an audio tour that you can come and take and wander around, and if you see a plant you're interested in, you can punch a little number in and hold the wand up and hear about it. And you can always schedule those docent tours if you like. You just got to give us a call ahead of time so we can schedule them. Maybe a day ahead of time is all we need.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
And the one thing that amazes me, I mean, you've got some days where it's free admission.
Right, Saturdays it's free, and anytime we have, event days, like
Right.
on Saturdays, those are all free.
But then also with a membership, which is so reasonable, $25 a year.
yeah.
That's free every day.
Right. So yeah, $25 a year admission, or $35 for families. You can get free admission to the gardens anytime. And for tourist visitors and residents that aren't members, it's still very reasonable. It's $5 for out of town visitors and $3 for residents to
Wow.
come Monday through Friday. And there's a lot of things that are available on weekdays. We can answer questions. We can walk around with you and show you how native plants look in the landscape and recommend native plants for your yard. They really do save water if you get the right plant in the right place,
And this year would be a good year to have some of that.
Absolutely. It's been really hot.
Yeah.
It has. And we've seen the plants go haywire.
Have you?
Yes. Particularly our breadfruit trees.
Oh,
which
really? Oh, they
we've-
need water, don't they?
They love water. And what's been interesting about the breadfruit trees this year is, and they say this is a sign of a really hot summer, but on the ends of the branches, we've got, instead of 1 fruit per branch, there's 3. So the trees are just loaded with fruit this year. And this is not just at the Maui Nui Botanical Gardens, but I've been hearing all over, which is just in time for our breadfruit festival on September 7th.
So why, if there's a lack of water, is there more breadfruit?
It's not a lack of water. It was I think it was the heat. It was
Oh, the heat.
especially hot. Yeah, and we actually had an unusually wet period in spring. And then we had a lot of heat after that. And so the extra heat, I believe, is what caused it, but I don't know. I don't know, but it's going to be really quite a harvest season for breadfruit.
Wow. On that note, it's break time again.
Aloha from Pacific Source, and thank you for your support over the years. Pacific Source has offered more of what builders and homeowners value most in building materials and cabinet design. We've done this by offering superior customer service and products, as well as by designing kitchens and baths that are intelligent and elegant while staying true to your vision and budget. Visit our showroom in Waikapu in Central Maui, where we display a variety of cabinets as well as top-name appliances like Sub-Zero, Wolf, Viking, KitchenAid, and more. We display countertops, tile and wood flooring, and several brands of windows and doors, including Fleetwood multi-slides and La Cantina folding doors. Come in and talk to our designers about making your dreams become a reality. From concept to completion, we really believe our attention to detail and superior service are what sets us apart. Let us show you what we mean. We are a Pacific Source at 515 East Oahe Way in the Consolidated Base Yard in Waikapu, just off Waiko Road. Call us at 986-0380. That's 986-0380, or look us up online at packsource.com.
And we are back. This is Maui Nonprofit Notes, the weekly radio show where we talk story with our nonprofit executive directors and find out what's going on in their world. And the second half of the show today, we're talking with Tamara Sherrill, who is the executive director of the Maui Nui Botanical Garden. I don't think I even said that when you started, did I? The whole thing. I just said,
That's okay. We
hi.
got it. Yeah. Hi.
Hi, and we started talking. But so breadfruit, it used to be a really big thing.
Absolutely. It was, it's a canoe plant, so that means it was, brought probably more than once by migrating Polynesians who first settled Hawaii, and probably at least 1,000 years ago. But it was cultivated really intensively. So before any Europeans or non-Polynesians arrived, there were plantations. And the places on Maui that they were most famous was Lahaina and Central Maui. So some of the early European visitors used to describe it as like forests of breadfruit. So it was a staple food along with kalo and uala, sweet potatoes, and taro. But these plantations, disappeared pretty quickly when other forms, we all have the diets that we bring with us, right? So I myself, I didn't grow up here. I've been here for 25 years, and I lived in 25 years in Florida. So for me, my staple food for the first 25 years was grits. And then I came here and I learned it became rice. So now I want rice. But one thing that I've really learned in working with breadfruit is that it's if you didn't grow up with it, if you didn't grow up cooking and eating with it, you don't know what to do with it. And so you might try it the first time and it's dry and you don't like it. So one of the reasons I wanted to come on this show was to tell you about this festival that we've had, and this is the third year. It's called La'ulu, Breadfruit Day. It's going to be on Saturday, September 7th, and it is a really amazing kind of a community-based partnership with all kinds of nonprofit organizations that work with breadfruit and promote breadfruit as a food source in Hawaii, which it used to be. It's not something that we're culturally used to eating, but it's actually really delicious once you learn enough about it to know how to cook it, how to handle it, when to pick it, what kind of trees grow where, that kind of thing. So it's a really, really fun event, and I hope everybody that's listening will go onto our website and find out about it.
There's different varieties of breadfruit.
There are. In fact, did you know in Maui, there's in Hana, Kahanu Gardens, which is part of the National Tropical Botanical Garden. They have the biggest breadfruit collection in the world there. And it's part of the Breadfruit Institute. So those representatives from the Breadfruit Institute, which is actually based on Kauai, are going to come in for this festival, and they're going to be presenting their research about all those varieties, about how, all the nutritional value of breadfruit, and they've got all kinds of great information about it. And there'll be at least 6 other organizations as well. Kahanu Gardens is going to come, and they're going to sell breadfruit trees, which it's hard to find ulu trees. Have you ever... I'm in the plant world, so it's actually hard to find them. So they'll have it's first come, first served, but they have some beautiful trees. They've started putting them in our nursery, so they're staging them out, and they are of the Ma'afala variety. So that's actually it's a breadfruit that has seeds, and it's a really good eating breadfruit, and it's a great variety for home gardens. It tends to grow a little bit smaller, and in stature. and it fruits really quickly and it produces a lot of fruit.
Wow.
Yeah.
I know Mike from
Mike Opgenorth?
from the restaurants in
Oh.
Lahaina. What the heck's his name? That's terrible. I shouldn't have even started that conversation. But he bought a farm area out in Hana, and he's raising breadfruit.
Right, yes, thank you.
And he's just, I mean, he is so into it right now.
It's having a moment for sure.
And it's like, whoa, you go from Lahaina. And it was supposed to be a weekend retreat, but he says the phones work so they can call me when they need me. And I said, does that mean you don't come back very often? And he says, I love it out there with my
Yeah.
trees.
Yeah. Hana's a beautiful place for growing breadfruit. There's plenty of water, and they do like to have water. So it's not one of those water-conserving sorts of trees. But if you already have irrigation, it's a great choice if you've got the room for it. One tree can produce like 500 pounds of food. And, in these days of climate change and food security issues and thinking about how we get our food to Hawaii, we ship it all in. I mean, if those
Right.
container ships stop, we'd run out of food
Yeah.
pretty quickly, right?
Right.
It makes a lot of sense to have a little bit
But-
more ulu trees around.
500 pounds. Are we talking several growing periods during the year?
There's a season, in Hawaii, the season's a little shorter than places like Samoa, Tonga, Micronesia, places where they eat a lot more breadfruit. But here, it tends to go from July to December, which is a really long season. So it's just starting now, and it should be fruiting right through December.
I see.
Yeah.
And then it's fallow for that next.
Then it doesn't have fruit for the rest of the year.
Okay.
But you actually can preserve the fruit. There's going to be someone from the Hawaii Ulu Cooperative coming from the Big Island to this festival on September 7th at Maui Nui Botanical Gardens, and they sell steamed frozen ulu, so like in all different ripenesses. Do you like ulu? Have you tried it?
I've tried it. I don't think I've hit the right formula.
I
Or
know
recipe,
what you mean.
I should say, 'cause
you're the kind of people we want to have come to this event because we're going to have food vendors. We've got Maui Breadfruit Company is one of our sponsors, and they do a really wonderful dessert called ponu pies. They're going to have so you can make sweet things, you can make savory things. They're going to have ulu curry. There's going to be all different kinds of ulu dips that are made and ulu chips. There's even an ulu chocolate mousse, a frozen
Oh my
ulu chocolate
goodness.
mousse that's going to be for sale. And there's going to be 5 different chef demonstrations. So that people like us who are, didn't grow up with breadfruit, there's free samples, there's recipe cards, and then we've got Mike LaFaro who's the executive chef from Grand Wailea. He's going to be demonstrating ulu risotto with
my
parmesan
gosh.
and lemon. And you get to take a recipe card home. And then we've got Shirley Kahaihau. She's a chef at Ho'oulu Ka'ulu, which is on the Big Island. And she's going to do something called the Overnight Fruit and Nuts Bowl, Ulu Fruit and Nuts Bowl. I have no idea what that is, but I'm really looking forward to it. And we've got another woman from the Big Island, Mariposa Blanco. She's going to demonstrate award-winning Ulu tamales.
Tamales.
Yeah. And then,
oh my gosh.
And then we're going to have Isaac Bankako from Andaz Maui at Wailea, and he's got an ulu tots recipe that he's going to show.
Ulu tots?
Ulu tater tots.
Oh,
Yeah.
tater tot
Yeah.
type thing.
Anything you can do with potato, you can do with
With ulu. Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah, that's sponsored by the Blue Zones Project, Central Maui. So
Oh, neat.
they've been fabulous. They've been sponsoring the chef demonstrations for the last 3 years, and they do a really great job. There's a mirrored table; you can see everything that's happening.
Interesting.
It's a lot of fun. Yeah.
Now, if you talk about anything you do with potatoes, you can do with ulu. But
Yeah.
how does a mousse fit in that?
I know, isn't that interesting? It's 2 different foods on one tree. So when it's in that, you see the big green balls hanging on the tree, right?
Yeah,
And when they're a lot of people don't like it because they pick them too soon. And they don't wait till the sap comes out. When it's still firm and the sap comes out, that's when it's at the potato stage, and you've got to cook it. You can make au gratin, you can make fries, you can do anything. You can mash it. There's ulu poi, and that'll be demonstrated at this event as well. You can taste that. But once it ripens and turns soft, and then you got to watch out because it's going to fall on your head. So don't stand under the ulu trees. Get a little bit farther away.
Sounds like a song. Don't
Yeah.
stand under the ulu
That's
trees.
right. But they become more like a sweet custard at that stage.
Oh.
So you can, and I've actually made banana bread when it's like that. So it's almost like ripe banana.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've heard people doing that.
It's delicious. Yeah, it has a really nice taste. So 2 different kinds of foods.
Yeah. All from
And
that one
from one fruit.
fruit.
Right. Yeah, fruit.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's
Fascinating
It's a lot
fruit.
of fun.
And I'll bet this is interesting because people, like you say, come and learn and try the different the foods that are being prepared with it. And I mean, it sounds like there's something for everyone. I mean, but
Absolutely.
now, can you buy breadfruit in a grocery store?
You can. I have seen it for sale at different grocery stores around the islands, and of course, like you mentioned, there are more orchards going up, but it's something that's easy to grow at home too. And one of the reasons to do that is it doesn't store well. So once you've picked it, it's got a shelf life of a few days. If you keep it in water, it can stay a little bit longer than that, but it doesn't ship well, it doesn't store well. It turns into that soft, custardy kind of a fruit pretty quickly.
Okay.
So it's a really good fruit to, have it as a yard fruit and share with your neighbors. It's better that way.
Right.
But you can get it. And like I said, there are going to be all kinds of different vendors that have ulu products, and we want people to get exposed to all the creativity that they show. And they sell steamed and frozen ulu so that you don't have to worry about it if you're trying to source it. So
Gotcha.
if you want ulu, this is the place to be, or if you want to learn more about it. And we are going to have a lot of, it's not just the fruit from the tree. Surfboards are made from the wood. The papa for poi pounding boards, papa kuiai. We'll have displays of those. There's going to be a woodworker there who's selling wooden things, and he's going to have a few special items that are made of ulu wood. And we actually, I have them here. I know we're on the radio, so you're not going to be able to see this. But the little leaf sheets like this, we're going to have a lei making station where you can make lei out of native plants. And these little leaf sheets, they're brown, and they look like they're just a beautiful, rich brown color.
It is a nice
And they're
color.
kind of flexible, and you can braid them into a beautiful lei. So we're going to be demonstrating how to do that.
Interesting.
And putting that into a lei. These actually used to be used as a fine sandpaper as well.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. They have a little bit of they were like
Texture.
the last thing that you would use when you were doing fine sanding.
Ah,
Yeah,
interesting.
so we're not going to focus on just the food, but although that'll be the major focus of this festival on September 7th at Maui Nui Botanical Gardens, but also all the other uses, all the old uses and all the new uses of all the different parts. The bark,
Fascinating.
we're going to have a demonstration. Lisa Schattenberg-Raymond is going to have a kappa making demonstration, and she's going to show how you can use ulu bark as well as wauke to make different kappa.
Wow.
Yeah.
So now, traditionally, how tall does a breadfruit tree grow?
Well, it depends
A
on
standard.
The Hawaiian variety gets very tall. So we have about a 50-year-old tree at the garden right at the front entrance as you walk in, and it is definitely up to about 40 or 45 feet
Wow.
now. Yeah.
Okay.
So they do take up a lot of space.
So, but there is a shortened one, or a
There aren't really varieties that are little dwarf. Yeah.
dwarf. Yeah.
But it depends on the conditions. So wherever if it's in a windy area, it's going to be shorter, and they can be pruned down. But yeah, you need room to grow a tree.
But the fruit that comes from them is pretty much the same on all of the trees.
They can be a little bit different. Some of them have seeds, some don't. Some are darker yellow, some are more fibrous. But that's something you can find out when you come talk to all the different University of Hawaii at Manoa and Agroforestry Net, Maui Master Gardeners.
How about that?
Yeah.
You can learn everything you need to know.
That's right. You can get and all kinds of great handouts too.
Yeah, that's cool. And that's from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Saturday, September 7th.
That's right. At Maui Nui Botanical Gardens, we're at the old zoo site, so right across from the War Memorial Stadium. And it is free admission, and it's free parking. And this is an event that's been supported by Hawaii Tourism through the Community Enrichment Program and Ulupono Initiative, along with other sponsors. And yeah, we're just really grateful to have a third year of this, and we're looking forward to it. It'll be a really fun day.
Sounds like it's growing every year.
I think so. We're definitely have more chef demonstrations this year, and yeah, we've had more attendance every year, so we're trying to grow with it. We've filled up all our booths. We can't accept any more vendors, but we don't. All the nonprofit organizations are full, but yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun, and it's going to be really one of those events that I think you'll open your eyes to the.
Yeah.
How and if you think about it, this is just one native plant, right? One Polynesian
Right.
introduced plant. We've got more than 200 there at the garden. It's just a really rich. It's almost like a library.
And what if you get tired of watching the demonstrations and so forth, you can walk around through the garden.
Absolutely, and
See
there's
some of
going
the
to
other
be
things.
really good entertainment too. Just so you know, we're going to have the last person who's going to be who's going to be performing. This is at 2 o'clock, is Uluwehi Guerrera and Halau Hula
Wow.
Ko'ulu Okala. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're going to have some
Woo.
great entertainment that's all free as well.
Sounds like quite a day. Now, is parking an issue, or where do people park when a big event like this?
Shouldn't be a
place.
problem at all. We've rented the parking lot at the War Memorial Stadium
Okay.
right across the street. So you
Gotcha.
can park, and there'll be police officers to help cross.
Great.
Yeah.
Beautiful. You got it wired.
Oh, thanks.
That's
we'll
terrific.
We'll have fun.
Yeah, and then you've got a couple other events coming up after that. I think I saw on your website.
That's right. Well, we've got an interesting new workshop coming up. Tea Leaf. It's going to be a new one from Ko'i Lam, who's done some great workshops about kukui, uses of kukui, and he did a noni workshop, and this is his first time doing a workshop about tea, which is something that everybody has in their yard, tea leaf.
Right.
I guess the Hawaiian name is ki, but he's going to be talking about all the different uses, including making sandals, which is an old use.
Really?
So, yeah, where people are going to actually get to make their own sandals out of tea leaves.
Oh, fun.
And
How
that is on, tell me when, is that September?
Yeah, that's not on the
September-
list
oh,
that
not
I
in
saw
there. Okay.
here, but
Well, it's if you go to MNBG for M for Maui, N for Nui, B for Botanical, G for Garden.org, you'll see all of our programs and events there, and you'll see all
Cool.
the dates for these. And then the next event is our Arbor Day 1000 Hawaiian Tree Giveaway, which is also going to be merged with the Maui Garden Expo this year. So it'll
Wow.
have twice as many booths. It'll have lots of plants for sale in addition to the plants we're giving away.
cool.
So
Busy place.
it is, and we've just got a small staff. We got a lot of help from volunteers, and we're just trying to keep people interested and appreciating the unique native plants of Maui Nui. We're a great place to come if you just want to eat lunch and just enjoy the shade. If you have a group that wants to learn about Hawaiian culture, or if you have kids that need to learn how to work in the yard, we're open to
To helping
bring them over. Yeah,
Get them started.
We do service learning all the time, and we can teach them how to work safely and appreciate the plants that they're working around.
I think the thing that really gets me about what you do over there is it's excuse me, it's not just pretty plants, they're useful.
Oh yeah, that's a hard sell sometimes,
Yeah.
because especially when people from out of town come to visit, they're expecting waterfalls and
Yeah.
really showy flowers. So their image of Hawaii is a little different from what they might see.
Oh, hey, it sounds like we gotta go. I'm sorry.
Thanks for having me.
Tamara, it's been great having you, and I hope that a lot of folks show up for your La'ulu
Thank you.
event on Saturday, the 7th of September. This is Maui Nonprofit Notes, sponsored by as a community service by Pacific Source, the builder's choice. We want to thank everybody for joining us today. What have I got, 5 seconds?
35.
Oh, 35. Oh, shoot, I can do a lot. We spoke today with Paul Tonneson of the Friends of the Children Justice Center and Tamara Sherrill of the Maui Nui Botanical Gardens. Give them a call if you have more interest in learning what they do. We want to thank you all for joining us. We'll be back again next week. We'll feature 2 more agencies of the Maui Nonprofit Directors Association. I'm Susie Tiemann, Executive Director, Lokahi. Hey, thanks, everybody. Have a great week. Aloha.